you just saw the first stage of compression for brass players. What does this funky balloon got to do with the first stage of compression? Actually, if you blow it up, now we're not blowing up the balloon is not the exercise. Okay, the first stage of compression is about taking in more air via your diaphragm into your lungs and creating so much pressure on your lungs that the air almost wants to force its way up through your throat and out through your mouth. There's so much pressure there, it almost feels like the horn is kind of playing itself. And there's a lot of energy behind that. If you just look at this balloon, I mean, if I just let it go, boom, it just went way up. I mean, there was energy there in that balloon. So, I'm not an engineer and I haven't studied engines and machines and rockets and stuff like that, but I do know one thing. There is a difference between a jet engine and a propeller plane, or that type of engine, and we're talking about planes. The jet engine is based on that principle of the balloon building up so much pressure, then poof, it releases all that energy. It's quite amazing. That's what we are doing as brass players in the first stage of compression. We are filling up our lungs with so much air to the point that they're not going to burst, but that air is going to explode up through our throat, out through our mouth, and into the horn. And of course, we're able to regulate it along the way. So if you don't have the first stage of compression, that extreme amount of air pressure trapped inside your body, you could have the tongue arch going decently, and you could have the last stage of compression, which is your aperture. You could have that down pretty good. You're still going to be misfiring. You're not going to be firing on all cylinders like a Lamborghini would be, or a Ferrari. So there are exercises that I have my students do to really work the first stage of compression. And the one reason I have them do that is because it's the least complicated technique. And most students, whether they're 8th graders all the way up to comeback player, old timer people that haven't played in a while, I mean, most players, regardless of level, can get and master the first stage of compression, compressing the air velocity in our body. So, and yes, we can increase the space in our lungs. Did you know that? What happens if your lungs normally stretch out this much, but through some techniques I'm going to show you, they stretch out that much? Well, now you have this complete pressure cooker inside your body with this bottled up air just waiting for the air to explode. I mean, it's quite amazing. You have to have that. And is this important in only playing high notes? No. I found having great compression from stage 1, from the initial stage of compression at the diaphragm level, is really, really helpful for getting a great tone and having that effortless quality of playing in the low and middle register and the kind of lower upper register, which I would call high G, high A, high B flats, right around there. So this is really, really important to your brass playing abilities, your tone, your output, and your endurance. If you don't have compression at the first stage of compression through diaphragmatic breathing, you're going to be using these. You're going to be taxing out and juicing out your chops, and you're just not going to have a lot of endurance. You're going to be pushing the mouthpiece harder to get the results that you want. You will be able to get it temporarily, but eventually you're going to be blown out and fatigued out. So if you're at all interested in the first stage of compression, there's 3 stages. If you're interested in the first stage, because that is the least complicated, it's the one that everybody can do and you can learn it and you can master it quickly. then you might want to consider some of the courses that I do, or you might want to consider working with me privately. And that doesn't matter if you're in Zimbabwe, Russia, China, South Korea, Europe, or Tallahassee, Florida. It doesn't matter. We do it via Skype or over the phone. So I have these ears. These ears are really, really good, and it's pretty amazing. I can hear someone play over the phone, and almost instantly I know what they're doing wrong. Okay, I don't even have to see you, but if I can't figure it out by hearing it, I will watch you, and I'll figure it out after that. So I hope this was helpful for you. In case I didn't emphasize this, there are 3 stages of compressing the air, and they all have to be just perfectly aligned and just mastered to get the absolute astounding sound, tone, power, accuracy, endurance, and of course the high range. You take one of them out and you got problems. Doesn't mean you can't play, it just means that you have problems and challenges. So I just introduced to you with the balloon dynamic that is the first stage of compression. And thought my camera was like, sorry about that. My stand has about 8 books on it. I got my phone here on my stand. That's what we're doing right now, and it's about ready to go kaput with all the books on there. So I better take the arbors off next time. So anyway, hit me up with an email, Kurt@TrumpetSizzle.com. You can easily find my site. You can email me from here at YouTube or Facebook or just about anywhere, and we can talk about and go into detail about the different techniques that you actually need to be working on for the first stage of compression. You might as well be doing it because it's the easiest one to work on and the one that will give you the quickest results. The others actually give you the most potent and best results, but unfortunately they take a lot longer to master and to really get the feel of. I'm talking about tongue arch compression at the bottleneck, and I'm talking about aperture compression. So those we need to work on too, but those are not overnight successes. Usually it takes a while to get those down. So I'm going to take this off my stand before it all screws up and falls on the floor. You can see how dirty my carpet is. Ooh, there we go. So anyway, hope you found that interesting. The balloon is not an exaggeration of what we're doing at the first initial stage of compression. It really isn't. It's not. It's exactly what's going on inside our lungs. The diaphragm pulls down and it creates a lower pressure in our body. That lower pressure lets the air rush in. And the more air that can rush in, the more pressure that can be created. That's the first stage of compression. It's science, folks. Not art. Science. I'll see you in the next installment where we're going to be talking about the second stage of compression.